Hi, everybody. My name is Lilo Grunwald, and welcome back to another Live with Lilo. I'm going to take these off, blind as I am, just for a few moments. I want to thank you all for hopping on once again. Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm so extremely nervous, and yet I'm very, very excited, and so are my dogs. I'm literally in my hallway again. I have it jury-rigged so that they don't come in here. Hopefully they don't knock my curtain down. Anyway, hey everybody. So let me just figure this out so that I can see when Mike comes on. Or Mike, just when you come on, just message me so that I see. Hi, Brian. Hey, oh, thanks, Eve. I curled it really fast. Oh, hey, good, Mike's on. All right, you guys, this is so exciting. I went to high school with Mike Portnoy. This is the reason that I started doing these Live with Lilo interviews, because I felt that our town has so many talented people, and not just talented people. Those aren't the only interviews I want to do, but we've had so many people come out of this town that have done so many amazing things, and I want to bring that to you. I feel like it's such a treat for me, and I hope that it's a treat for you. And Mike Portnoy, oh my God, there's so many people that don't know who Mike Portnoy is or what he does. He is ranked one of the top 10 drummers, rock drummers in the world. He went to Berklee School of Music. I'm going to let him tell you all about it. But he went to Berklee School of Music on a scholarship, which is where my brother Evan went after getting his psychology degree in undergrad and graduate school. He decided he was going to go to music school. So he went to Berklee School of Music, and he knows all about Mike Portnoy, and he is a founding member of Dream Theater. It's a progressive metal rock band that he was with for 25 years, and I'm going to bring him on because you don't want to see me, you want to see him. So let's bring him on. I think he is here, and he already knows what he's doing. So I'm adding you in, Mike Portnoy. So excited. Hi, Jim.
Hey!
Hi!
This works.
How are you? Hey, you look just like your pictures.
Yeah, except I'm wearing glasses. Normally I have to take my glasses off for pictures, but in order to see what the hell I'm doing, I'm just going to leave them on. You know how it goes.
Hey, yeah, I do. Listen, I can't do my interviews without glasses either. We're at that age, you know? We're at that amazing age. So good to see you. I'm so happy you
Yeah. How you been?
I'm
It's been
good.
a long time.
I know. Well, actually, I mean, I saw you back in 2010, probably one of your last performances with Dream Theater. And
was that at Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were there.
I was there. I have
Awesome.
a picture to prove it and everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was an amazing concert. That had to be one of the highlights of your career.
Absolutely. I mean, that was one of the last shows I did with Dream Theater before I left the band, but it was always my dream to play Madison Square Garden, and it was like the one place in New York I hadn't played. I've pretty much played every venue in New York, and that was the one that I hadn't played. We played in the theater downstairs at the Garden a few times, but to play the main room was a dream. And even at the end of the show, I grabbed the mic and just said, you know, we formed this band 25 years ago here in Long Island, and it was always a dream to play here, and to finally do it was really a dream come true. I have a video of Intruder at St. Mary's Church, 1983, and we all did interviews before the concert, and I have the VHS tape somewhere in my archives. And one of the questions was like, "What's your dream? What's your goal?" And in that video, you know, a 16-year-old version of me is like, "Yeah, to play the Garden, man. That's the goal."
That's awesome. So let's talk about Intruder. Was that your first band?
It was, yeah. Myself and Mike Bauer and Eric Barbasso, and anybody from Long Beach that's watching this knows all those names. We put Intruder together in April of 1982. I think I was in 9th grade and those guys were in 8th grade. They were a year younger than me. I think the same age as you.
Yeah.
And we put the band together in 82, and through the years we played these shows at St. Mary's Church, right on Jesus, is that Monroe Boulevard. I can't even remember, but yeah,
Yeah.
we would do a show once or twice a year there. And through the years, we went through a lot of changes. Mike Thomas ended up joining the band for a little while, and Angus Whitaker. I have the Intruder scrapbook right here. If you really want to take a trip down memory lane, I'll flip the camera. You want to do it?
Absolutely. I think some people would really appreciate that.
If we're talking about Intruder, we gotta do this. Let me see if I can flip the camera here.
Okay.
There it is, the Intruder scrapbook.
Nice.
And I, even to this day, I still collect and keep everything. I mean, if you look around me, you can see the world I'm in. But I was even that way back then, back in 1982 when I was a teenager. So we have the scrapbook that's me, Mike, and Eric. And literally, I logged everything. This was the very first rehearsal, the songs we played, the second rehearsal. I literally kept track of everything. And then here was the first concert we played for my sister's 6th grade graduation.
Wow.
And there's me, Mike Bauer, and Eric. And then, let me see, through the years, the lineups changed. That was when we added Anthony Hayes for a little while. I haven't spoken to him in, 30-something years. But, I mean, this book is crazy. I'm sorry. It's so old, the pages are falling out.
That's such an amazing thing that you have that keepsake. Oh my God. I just interviewed
Mike Thomas joined the band.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is special.
Yeah, and then this was taken on Farrell Street. It was when I was living on Farrell Street. We took that picture there. And this is pictures from one of the shows at St. Mary's Church. So This was May 6th, 83. There's the set list. We were doing like Judas Priest and Rush and Ozzy Osbourne covers. And
hey, listen, the whole high school was at that show.
Yeah.
I don't remember what show, but I was at one of those shows and it was packed.
Yeah.
Packed house. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just a bit. Where'd I go? There we go. That's a bit of a taste of where it all began. Intruder was my first band. And we went through all the same shit that I ended up going through with Dream Theater and all the other bands. We went through it with Intruder. Bands splitting up, guys leaving. Mike Bauer would leave, then he'd come back. Then Mike Thomas would come in, then he would leave. Eric Barbassa just joined. He just missed some photos of him. Wait, Eric.
He can watch the replay. He can go back and watch the replay.
And then after Intruder, if you look at this book, there's a point where Intruder officially ends in, I guess, June of 84. And then I started playing with Angus Whitaker in a band called Rising Power. And that was 84. And then after that came Inner Sanctum, which was also with Eric Barbassa. So it's all here. It's all still here.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm gonna love seeing that.
I keep everything, so it's also.
I wonder. They probably don't even know until now that you have that. The way you have kept it. It's amazing.
Well, I mean, like I said, if you look around my office here, I keep everything, and it's all completely organized. So at any point, I could really find anything. The way that this Intruder scrapbook was meticulously labeled with dates and set lists and stuff like that, that never changed. Even at 51 years old, I'm still the same.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you have that, I would imagine, with all of your bands.
I do. Yeah. I mean, that Intruder was where it all began, but yeah. I mean, 25 years of Dream Theater, I saved everything. I have,
We're losing you. How do we make you clearer? You look like you're pixelating a little bit.
I'll try to hold still for you. So,
yeah, it's a little blurry. Does anybody else see that it's blurry, or is it clear on everybody's end? I just want to make sure, because I've had issues where anybody see that? Daniel, Megan, anybody that's watching?
Good on my end.
Yeah, okay. All right. Good.
Yeah, I mean,
if anybody sees anything blurry, just let us know, please. I want to make sure that we all see Mike Portnoy.
Now, wait a second. I'm not only going to embarrass Mike Bauer and Eric Barbasso. I want to show you something.
Okay.
This is all talk about keeping everything. Do you remember this? This is my junior high school yearbook.
Oh, God.
And there I am. And then look who else is here.
Wait, it's a little blurry. Hang on. Oh, God. Isn't that awful? How awful is that picture?
And then look,
God.
Look who's on the next page.
Talk about going through puberty. You look great.
Look who's on the next page.
My husband.
But this is the junior high school yearbook, and check. There's one photo. This is the way I dressed back then. This is the back of my jean jacket. Zeppelin, the Who, the Stones, the Beatles, the Clash, Pink Floyd, and then I have my high school I have my high school yearbook here too.
I guess it's safe to say that you were into music back then, huh?
Yeah. Well, here's the craziest thing. Here's the photo that we took for the high school picture for the yearbook, and there I am, and I'm wearing a Twisted Sister shirt. Now,
nice.
I don't know if you know my history, but I've spent the last couple of years playing in Twisted Sister. So there I am wearing a shirt of a band that 30 years later I'd end up being in. It's insane.
Yeah. And who would have even thought? I mean, would you have even dreamed that you'd be playing with Twisted Sister? Tell people why you're playing with Twisted Sister, because not everybody is like a rocker or, follows like, heavy metal or anything like that. Could you tell us why you started playing with Twisted Sister?
Their drummer, AJ Pirro, was a good friend of mine through the years. I got to know the band, and, I grew up on Long Island, as we all did. And back then they were like the club band, and I would sneak into Speaks in Island Park and go see them when I was underage with fake ID. So I was a fan back then. And one of these photo albums, I also have pictures of me and Billy Heller and Steve Schimmel and Tracy Pacifico. We all went to see Twisted Sister at Nassau Coliseum, and we had first row seats. So I have a picture of that somewhere there.
Nice.
I have that as well. But anyway, flash forward 35 years later, or whatever it has been now, 30 years later, and AJ, their drummer, tragically died a few years ago, and he had replaced me in one of the bands I had played with in Adrenaline Mob. So long story short, when he passed away, those guys, Dee Snider and JJ French, they asked me to come on board and finish out the last couple of years of touring they had scheduled and planned before AJ had passed away. So I came on board for the last couple of years and toured the world with them, and got to play with one of my childhood heroes for their farewell tour. So it was pretty cool.
Fantastic. That's amazing. All right, I want to bring it back for a minute. Like the very first time that you picked up drumsticks, because I'm really curious, and from what I know about you, you're pretty much self-taught. I remember being a horrible clarinet player in band and just being fascinated by you. Not to even mention how many girls had a crush on you and your blue eyes.
Well, you should have told me that back then. Now you tell me.
Yeah, I don't think you wanted anything to do with girls. I think you were just really into your drums.
I was for several years there.
But when did you first start drumming? When did you first have like a pair of drumsticks, and how did you know that you wanted to be a drummer?
I knew it from the day I was born, because I was a music fan. My dad surrounded me with the Beatles and the Who and the Stones and all that stuff that was, when I was born in the late 60s. I was surrounded by it at all times. So I knew I wanted to be a musician. I remember in fourth grade, if some of you out there watching were in fourth grade class with me, you'll remember I was the fourth grade rock star hero with the song I wrote on piano called Oh Yeah. And so that was the first thing. I was playing piano first. And I wrote this song, Oh Yeah, and I remember they had a thing every week in elementary school. I went to Lilo school, and they had a thing where they would like highlight one student. So they did a thing where they highlighted me, and I talked about playing piano, and I played the song that I wrote. And that was my first taste of stardom in fourth grade. But shortly after, I got bored with the piano. It just wasn't rock and roll enough for me. I was a big fan of Kiss and stuff back in those days in 76, 77. And I just wanted to rock. So I migrated towards the drums. And even though I was tapping away and into music for all those years, I guess you could say I officially got my first drum kit on my 11th birthday. It was April 20th, 1978. And it was around the same year that I was in full-on Kiss mode and fanaticism. Mm-hmm. So Peter Criss was a big hero of mine back then. Keith Moon with The Who was a huge hero of mine. Obviously Ringo Starr and the Beatles, and John Bonham and Led Zeppelin. So those guys were my first heroes, you know, back then. That was 5th, 6th grade. So that was elementary school, before junior high school. So I was playing drums by myself, just learning and playing along to records. I was doing that for years before I met Mike Bauer and Eric Barbasso, and then we started Intruder. So it was a few years of practicing on my own before I started playing in a band. Okay.
All right. And then it was just, so now what I've read, you're pretty much LG degenerates. That's what Adam Lupkin just wrote.
This is like a high school reunion for me. I haven't been able to go to my 20th or 30th reunions because I was on the road. So this is just as cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, everybody's, I mean, they're hopping on, and I know that a bunch of them are probably going to watch the replay, and right. Wait till you see how many views we get on this live.
But I'm seeing all these names of people, God, I haven't seen in 30 years or so. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Facebook has brought everybody together.
Yeah, and these Facebook lives are pretty freaking cool when they work. Awesome. All right, so through high school, you're cute as can be. You're a drummer. You had talent back then. You knew that you wanted to go to school for it. You knew that you wanted to do this, so you got a scholarship to Berklee School of Music, and you formed the band Dream Theater. And did you form that right away when you got there?
It was pretty much within the first 2 weeks of school that I met John Petrucci and John Mayung. So I went off to Berklee. Before I went to Berklee, I'll tell you a quick story. Mr. Kennedy, I don't know if you remember the music teacher in high school, Ed Kennedy.
Yeah.
He would, I think he hated me because I was like the rock star kid, and he always wanted to make an example out of me, and he would kick me out of bands and, you know, scold me in front of the whole class. He was always like really picking me out and badgering me. But I think, you know, now I know it was tough love, because on graduation day, he honored me with the music scholarship to go to Berklee. And that was like the biggest scholarship that the high school class had. So that was kind of his tip of the cap, showing me that he always believed in me, and he was just pushing me, trying to motivate me and teach me. So that was really cool. And it was a cool lesson. I tell this to my daughter because she just graduated from New York Film Academy. And, you know, she has teachers there that are very hard on her. And I say, you know, you get people like that, but they do that to motivate you and push you, give you that tough love. But anyway, so I want to show you one more thing in the high school yearbook. It says, as I graduated, we all were able to put down here the things we wanted to do, our goals and everything like that. And where is it? I can't see it. Here we go. Okay. There's mine.
It froze. Hang on.
Bands, stage band, and my goal was to become the next Neil Peart. Let me flip that.
Wait, it froze. So anyway, I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. Yeah.
The goal, it said, my goal was to be the next Neil Peart, and that's what it says in my high school yearbook. And I went off to Berklee, and I was a huge Rush fan. Neil Peart was my hero at that point when I graduated. And I met John Petrucci and John Mayung within the first month of school, and we put together Dream Theater. Back then, we were called Majesty for the first few years, but then we became Dream Theater, and it was a long and winding road for 25 years, you know, all through the 80s and 90s and 2000s. You know, every bump in the road, every high, every low, but, you know, went on to sell millions of records and play all over the world and have all my dreams come true. So, you know, within that course of 25 years, so much happened. And, but it all began, you know, a few weeks out of high school, up at Berklee as three college kids.
Yeah, it's amazing. Now, how did you come up with the name Dream Theater?
My dad, Howard Portnoy, suggested it. There was a movie theater out in Monterey, California. He lived in Carmel, and the next town over is Monterey. And there was a movie theater called the Dream Theater, which showed all the, you know, midnight movies and cult movies and stuff like that. I used to go see Rocky Horror there and Rock and Roll High School. Anyway, it was called the Dream Theater, and he suggested the name, and it stuck. We needed a new name because we got signed our first record deal We were still called Majesty. Oh, there's your dogs. Mine's upstairs. But we signed this deal and as Majesty, and found out there was another band that held the trademark, so we had to find a new name. And my dad suggested Dream Theater.
Hang on. Hey! Hey!
It's okay. I love dogs.
Well, yeah, this is what happens when you go live and you have two big dogs.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the last few things that you said because they were barking.
Well, basically, we had to change our name from Majesty to Dream Theater because there was a band that held the copyright with the name Majesty. So after a few years, we switched to Dream Theater, and that's where our career began.
Oh, so fantastic. Okay, so now where are you at? You've been like busy. I mean, you're in the recording studio. You're working with all these different bands. I mean, you can kind of pick and choose who you play with now, basically.
Yeah. Well, I left Dream Theater in 2010, so it's been almost 8 years now. And since then, I've made, I don't know, 20 or 30 albums with, a dozen different bands. I've just been spreading my wings and playing with everybody, playing with a lot of people that were my heroes, not only playing with Twisted Sister, but I formed a band called the Winery Dogs with Billy Sheehan, and Billy was one of my heroes back then. I remember in high school days sneaking into the stage door to go see him playing with his band Talus. And then 30 years later, I'm in a band with him, and actually in 2 bands with him. I'm also in a band with him called Sons of Apollo, who I've been touring with all of this year. And then I have another band with Steve Morse, who was one of my heroes back in high school. He was the guitar player in the Dregs. He and I have a band called Flying Colors. So, yeah, I mean, I have all these different bands. I have a thing called Metal Allegiance, which is the metal side of what I do. And I'm in a band with the bass player from Megadeth and the guitar player from Testament. Both of those guys who I used to go see, back in 85, 86, go to see them at Lemoore and Sundance. So I've had this great ability to, play with so many people that I love and admire and am fans of. And, it's really a charmed life. I mean, I have a lot of gratitude to be able to do this and have a fan base that's supportive to get behind me, since I left Dream Theater. It's not like they just were behind me because of Dream Theater. They're behind me with everything I do. And I'm juggling like 6 different bands at the moment. So there's always something going on. I'm either recording with one band or touring with another, or, setting up a release for this one or that one. And it's just a never-ending roller coaster.
Wow. I'm like looking for my questions because I have them pretty much in my head. Now, I briefly saw an interview that I think you recently did it. You're considered one of the world's top 10 drummers, rock drummers, but you don't like being called the best. You like favorite. So who's your favorite drummer? Who do you absolutely admire?
I think, I named a couple of them already, people like Keith Moon and John Bonham, who sadly are no longer with us, but they were heroes of mine when I was a kid. Yeah. Neil Peart of Rush was my biggest drum hero back in those high school days. Like I just showed you in the yearbook, it said future plans to become the next Neil Peart. He was my hero and still is to this day. And it's amazing because I've become friends with him through the years now, and he and I stay in touch. And it's one of those weird examples of becoming friendly with one of your heroes, but he still is one of my heroes. Frank Zappa was one of my biggest heroes, and he's not even a drummer. I just always admired his musicianship and his challenging musical style. So I have a lot of heroes, but I mean, look, I want to give you the tour. But
please give it.
I mean, here's me and Neil. I've gotten to become good friends with him, and there's me and Peter Criss, who was one of my big heroes, and there's me with Ringo, and Ozzy Osbourne, the guys from Rush, Pete Townsend, and Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. So there's me with the Ramones when I was in junior high school. So.
Oh my God! Let's see that one again.
Which one? The Ramones one?
The Ramones. Yeah, let's see that.
That was taken at Malibu, New Year's Eve, 1980 to 81 at Malibu.
Yeah, but you
Wow,
know,
that's
the point
incredible.
is, through the years, I've gotten to meet all of my heroes, and to
Yeah.
to me, that's one of the great of what I do is getting to, you know, tour with these bands and get to know them and become friendly with them. So
Oh,
that's what I think I love most about this job.
yeah.
I'm
How do
sitting
you
still
feel
for
when
you.
people get tattoos of you on their bodies?
Cool. I mean, I get it because I mean, look at my legs. They're covered with the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and the Who. I get it. I know what it's like to be a passionate fan. I've seen some amazing tattoos of me, which is pretty crazy. Um, but yeah, it's always such a compliment. It's very, very flattering. But like I said, like, you know, to me, there's no best drummer. It's people have musicians that they love and admire and respect, and those are their favorites. And that to me is what it's about when you connect with a fan like that. Because I'm still a fan. Look, I mean, look behind me. I'm just the ultimate fanboy. So I get what it's like to have these musicians that you love and admire.
Yeah.
I have Frank Zappa's mustache tattooed on the back of my leg, so I get it.
When did the color on your beard start? Because you do pretty much purple and green,
Yeah,
right?
it's pretty bad right now. I'm in need of a touch up before I hit the road again. I've been doing that, I don't know, 15 years now. It's usually blue. Sometimes I'll try purple, but the blue has kind of been that's been my go-to color for many years. But it's been about 15 years of doing that now.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love when you post the pictures of the fan tattoos and they have a little coloring in the tattoo. I love that.
And it's not because I'm gray. I actually have very little gray in my beard. Like, as you can see, I'm completely gray on top, but almost none in my beard, which is strange because I see people that are like in their 30s and they're already gray in their beard, but I really don't have much gray in my beard. Just blue.
Yeah. Just blue. Now let's talk about all the M's in your family because it's all M's. You have Melody and Max are your son and your daughter, and your wife. I just wrote down
Marlene.
Marlene. Thank you.
Well, that's where it began. You know, once we had Mike and Marlene, then we knew we just had to keep the trend going. So our daughter Melody was born in '97, and our son Max was born in '99. But before they were born, we had a dog named Bongo, and that threw everything off. But after Bongo, all of our animals ever since were M's. We had Maggie and Mickey are our dogs. Maggie's passed away, but we still have Mickey. And then our cats are Mittens and Minnie, and we had Magic. And so, yeah, we have to keep it going.
You have to. Absolutely. Now, your kids are equally as talented. Now, I've seen videos of your daughter that you're so proud of, and she's a very talented singer. And your son is an extraordinary drummer like yourself. Do you envision a Portnoy band forming ever?
No, everybody's taste and styles are so different. But I met Marlene. She was a guitar player in a band called Mean Streak. So when I met her in about 89 or 88 is when I used to go see her band playing. And they would be opening for Anthrax and Motorhead and Overkill, all these metal bands. So I met Marlene around then, and then we ended up starting to date in '89. So she's a musician as well, and she came from an all-girls band, and 3 girls from her band married 3 guys from Dream Theater, and all still married to this day, all 3 of us, all 3 couples. But yes, and then so Melody and Max were inevitably going to be in a musical household. Melody is an amazing singer, thank God, because we named her Melody.
Yeah.
But she's really into music theater, and she just graduated New York Film Academy and is looking to do music theater. And Max is an amazing drummer in his own right, and he actually just left to go on tour yesterday. He's going to be on the road throughout America for the next couple months with his band Tala. So yeah, it's a fun family.
You must be incredibly proud. You should be incredibly proud. It's amazing.
I am.
We have a question from Lisa Askenazi. Wants to know, what are the best and worst parts of the music industry?
I'd say the best is what I just
Did you hear me?
talked about. You know, get it. Yeah, I got it. I think the best is what I was just talking about, like getting to hang out with all of your heroes and getting to know them and getting to be friends with these people and play with them and tour with them. So for me, as a music fan, that's my favorite part of what I do. The worst part is the business side. I mean, there really is a lot of BS that goes along with this job, and it's called the music business for a reason. And for many, many, many years with Dream Theater, you know, we struggled. It wasn't an overnight success. It took 25 years to get the band where it got to, and there was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of disappointments, a lot of bad deals with labels, bad deals with managers and lawyers and accountants and booking agents, tour managers. You have all these people that have a piece of you, and a lot of times there's a lot of BS that goes with all the business. So you have to really endure it and you know, persevere. You just can't give up. And you know, I see my son going for it now, and you know, I know how hard it is. He's got the advantage of getting his foot in the door because he's my son, but he's got to do the hard work. And the music business these days is so much tougher than when I was coming up in the 80s and the 90s. So yeah, the business side could be tough.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in anything, I mean, I'm an actor, and I know all about the business side of it. You know, you can't just go out there and act. You can't just go out there and get an agent. I mean, you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
But that goes without saying. You have to put in the work to find the success.
Absolutely.
So I guess this question kind of goes along with it. And then I feel like some people want to ask questions, and I feel like we should take a few more questions before we finish.
Sure.
So this might just go along the same lines of what we just asked, but what, as an accomplished musician now, what challenges you? I mean, is there anything that challenges you? I mean, you basically have your pick of, you're working with 6 different bands now. You have an album coming out next month. And like, what challenges you?
It's just the challenge of keeping it fresh. You know, that was one of the reasons I had to leave Dream Theater after 25 years. It was just, it didn't feel fresh and inspired anymore. It just felt like routine. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to shake it up and get out of there and try different things. So that's what keeps me inspired and motivated is all these different bands I play with. Each and every time I'm writing music with them, we're playing live with them, it motivates me to try new things and have different outlets. But to be honest, at this point in my life, I do feel a certain sense of like kind of been there, done that. I've done, you know, I've played everywhere I've ever wanted to play, and I've played with almost everybody I've ever wanted to play with. So I just kind of need to find the inspiration with the people I work with. And, you know, luckily I'm in a lot of different musical situations right now that keep me inspired. But I would love a break. I think I'm ready for a break now. It's been nonstop for 30 something years. So yeah, I'm hoping Max will take over and he'll take over for all my bands soon.
I have a feeling he's going to be quite successful.
Yeah. Thank you.
And he looks just like you. Like your mini you.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I haven't been without a beard in a long time, but I see pictures of me back then, like out of high school and college, and it's uncanny. It's crazy.
Yeah. He's got that same curly, moppy hair. I think his hair is curlier than yours ever was.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah. He's totally
he's
me.
A cutie.
All
right, let's see if we have some questions from everybody, because I know they're dying to ask you things. So let's see what we have here. Do you ever think, Dawn Soriani wants to know, do you ever think of writing a book?
Hi, Dawn. I saw Dawn at my Sons of Apollo show a few months ago. Actually, I've been asked to write a book several times. I've had several publishers come to me and offer me book deals, especially right after I left Dream Theater and Avenged Sevenfold. There was a lot of drama going on in my life. So, you know, the book companies came at me, you know, thirsty for blood and gossip. And I turned down all the deals. I just, I don't know, maybe someday I will, but honestly, if I'm going to do a book, I got to be honest. I got to tell it like it is. I won't pull punches. I'm not going to bullshit. And it's like the Jack Nicholson line from A Few Good Men. It's like, you want the truth? You can't handle the truth. So I feel like if I was to write a book and say, you know, the truth of what has really gone down with some of these bands, I'd just be asking for trouble. I could see the blabbermouth headlines already. So I've kind of just been avoiding it. Because if I do it, I want to be honest. And if I'm honest,
right,
you know, the truth hurts. So I've been avoiding it.
okay, all right. There's your answer, John. Let's see. Let's go back. Oh, Adam Lupkin wants to know your favorite place in LB, Marvell or Geno's. Now, you were just here a couple weeks ago.
I
and
was
you
in
hit
Long
all
Beach.
your places.
Yeah, it's definitely Geno's. I didn't even get to hit Marvell, and now next to Geno's, there's this amazing ice cream place. So it's like one-stop shopping. But yeah, Long Beach has changed so much. Even Geno's is not like the Geno's we grew up with. It's changed a bit, but it's still, you know, coming to Pennsylvania, it's still like the best there is. But it's not like it was when we were growing up. I mean, I went first date to Geno's with Lori Elovich. Hi, Lori, if you're out there. But it was like in 5th grade, and I took her to Geno's, and that was like my first date. And there, it's still there. It's still a Long Beach landmark. And yeah. So, but it's weird going back to Long Beach. I only get to go every couple of years, and it's just changed so much. Or maybe it's just us that it's changed. I don't know.
No, it's changed a lot. We talk about that often. It's definitely changed a lot. It's more populated. The homes are different. It's changed so much since Superstorm Sandy. But there's still a Staples in town. We still have our Geno's. We still have our Marvell. We still have those key places.
It's too weird to see like. It's too weird to see like what used to be the video shop is now a Starbucks next to City Hall, or where Jack in the Box used to be is now a movie theater parking lot, and there was a Taco Bell there. There's all these landmarks that I'm used to seeing that are not there or changed to different. Is the Laurel Luncheonette still open? Yeah. I didn't get past Geno's this last trip. Like I didn't go further further west beyond that.
It's the Laurel Diner. Is that what we're talking about? No, the Luncheonette.
It's called the Laurel Luncheonette. It's on the corner of Laurelton Boulevard. Next to I remember the Laurel. I remember the Laurel Theater in the 70s. I remember seeing Rocky at the Laurel Theater, which was a great movie theater we had. And I guess they had a fire or they closed down, and then we grew up with the Lilo Theater.
Right. Yeah. That was a great movie theater. But yeah, it's the Laurel Diner, and there's a Rite Aid right now. No, is it a Rite Aid? Or is it? Yeah, it's a drugstore. Yeah. But yeah, they redid the Laurel Diner. Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have? My God, your mom and grandparents would be so proud of you. New owners at the Laurel. Yeah. Oh yeah, John Perlman just said Jaws. Yeah, we all saw Jaws at the Laurel Theater.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have? Do you have questions for Mike? Whoever is on, do you have questions? Let's see.
You want me to show you my drum room while we're waiting?
She said it. Yes, please. If you have questions, just pop them in the comments. If you have questions. All right, go.
So this is my office where I keep one kit.
Go slow so it doesn't freeze or blur. Yeah.
Okay. So this is my office, and those are my archives. And I keep one of my Dream Theater kits here. This is my Siamese Monster, it's called. But I'll take you into my drum room. So you go down the halls, and along here are all kinds of memorabilia through the years. Different tours I've done, and this is playing with Steve Vai and Paul Gilbert and Nuno Bettencourt and Tom Morello. It was a few years ago. This was when we toured with Megadeth and when we toured with Yes. This is when we toured with Queensryche and Fates Warning. This is from when we played at Radio City Music Hall, which was one of the highlights of my career. We played there with an orchestra, and it was really amazing. But anyway, you're around the corner, and this is my drum room.
Holy crap!
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. This is I've done a bunch of tribute. I've done a bunch of tribute shows. I did a Beatles, a Who, a Zeppelin, and a Rush. So in all those cases, they built me replica kits, and I keep them all in here. That's my John Bonham replica kit. That's my Neil Peart replica kit, and Neil signed it for me. Happy Drumming, a tribute to a tribute. This is my Beatles kit. This is my Keith Moon kit. And then here's one of my mic'd up, and I can actually record here in my studio. So this was one of the kits I used with Avenged Sevenfold. That's my old original drum kit that I bought from the Long Island Drum Center. Well, those are the drums that I played with Intruder with at St. Mary's High School. And from Intruder to Rising Power to the early years of Dream Theater, that's the kit right there.
That is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I love tours.
And yeah, so this is my drum room, and you come out here, and these are the various magazine covers I've been on the cover of. I've been on the cover of Modern Drummer 4 times now, which is amazing. And the cover of Drum Magazine 5 times. So it's been quite a ride, no question about it.
Yeah, you're living your dream. I mean,
yeah.
Not everybody in the world gets to live their dream.
It's true. Believe me,
dream and you're living it. It's amazing. What did John say? What did he write?
He heard a rumor Nico McBrain has taken time off and Maiden wants to go on the next tour. Nico is a dear friend of mine. I love him, and I've spent a lot of time with him through the years, but I would never be allowed in Iron Maiden because I'm American. Iron Maiden is so British that they would never have anybody but a Brit in the band.
Ah, okay. There you go, John. There's your answer. Oh my God. Anybody else have questions for Mike before we go?
I'll show you some pictures.
He might play for us. I don't know.
Wait, there's me and Nico.
Look at
where'd
that.
he go? I can't see what I'm doing here.
Put those glasses
there
on.
We go. I can't play because I can't hold this and play at the same time. I don't know how I could possibly do it.
No, it's okay.
Hey, I'm on holiday,
That's
man.
okay.
I'm on break right now.
That's okay. We're not expecting you to play at all. What else? Anybody else have a question for Mike before we end it? Let me see. I'm just scrolling through the Megan Kennedy, Ed Kennedy's daughter, by the way, she's watching.
Oh, wow.
She said it's so cool that you're still so down to earth, Mike. Yeah.
Mr. Kennedy, see, I know every 1-year-old man, and I should probably call him Ed, but he's still Mr. Kennedy to me. But anyway, Mr. Kennedy came to see me at Malibu years ago. I think I was playing with Dream Theater, and he came to the show, which was really, really cool to see him. And him and Mr. Kaplan, or Bruce Kaplan, Ed Kennedy,
yep.
Were both so influential and helpful and supportive, in high school band. And Mr. Kaplan, God, I remember I've known him since I think middle school. So it's always great to see them. Yeah. Facebook has brought everybody together. I mean, God, a lot of my high school teachers are Facebook friends now. So it's really cool to see that and still be in touch with our childhood. Long Beach is, you could take me out of Long Beach, but you'll never take Long Beach out of me.
That's right. Exactly. That's truth right there. It's funny because Mr. Kaplan and Mr. Kennedy, Bruce and Ed, they come up in these interviews quite often because, I praise these teachers because, while we were there, we may not have heard them, but they're right. Still in our heads to this day because of the things that they said or certain Absolutely. Things that they did. And yeah, I mean, Bruce, Mr. Kaplan, I mean, he was very influential to me. Oh, you froze. What happened?
I don't know.
You froze, my friend.
It'll catch up. I'm just sitting here. It'll catch up.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. And I've seen Mr. Kennedy, Ed, around town several times. He's doing art. He's retired. He's doing art now. But, you know, I remember back in the day, do you remember when he was on
That's Incredible.
David Letterman?
Well, I remember
That's Incredible?
There was a show called That's Incredible back then, and they came to Long Beach High School, and they filmed him, but we were in it too,
Yeah.
but on the show. But yeah, I remember him doing all the talk shows and balancing park benches and bicycles and stuff on his nose.
Yeah, yeah, and the trombone or whatever instruments he put on his nose and his chin. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That was, oh God.
Those were the days.
It's incredible.
Yep.
Yeah. Anybody else have questions? Let's see. Let's go down to the bottom here. Any chance of another instructional video? Ozzy?
I don't know. I think those days are gone because the internet has kind of killed that business. I've put out 3 instructional videos through the 90s and 2000s, and it was a great outlet before YouTube. Because before YouTube, the only way we could watch our favorite drummers and learn were these instructional videos. But now, because of YouTube, which is great. It's great that we have YouTube and it's free and kids could look it up and watch all these videos. It's an amazing thing, but it's killed the instructional video business. So the company that used to do all my videos, Hudson Music, I don't think they even make instructional videos anymore. So really anything you could want to see is on the internet now for free. So go to YouTube. I mean, there's thousands or hundreds of thousands of videos for all your favorite drummers out there. I mean, there's so many of me that are either I put them up or fans put them up. I do these drum cam videos for most of my studio albums as well. So it seems like that's kind of where we're at these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We're not going to take any more questions because you're not asking questions, people.
Everyone's camera shy.
Because people are like, oh my God, famous people. What do they do? So
yeah,
I know you like to watch TV.
This is my high school reunion here. This isn't a normal interview. This is a high school reunion for me.
It is. It totally is. So, like, I know that you watch a lot of TV. Not a lot. I mean, on your downtime, you like to chill out.
No, I
you
do
like
a lot.
to watch TV. You do a lot. What is one of your favorite TV shows right now that you're watching?
I just binged the Handmaid's Tale, which was unbelievable. I did both seasons like in a week or two. It was incredible. I'm currently watching HBO's Sharp Objects, which is directed by Jean-Marc Vallée, who also did Little Big Lies. Or is it Big Little Lies? I can't remember. But he's great, and I'm digging Sharp Objects. I'm going to watch it tonight. I just watched AMC's.
We're going to watch it also. You froze. I hope it comes back, but you froze on my end.
It'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe. I did an interview with Mike Bauer, and the last 10 minutes, I froze. You could still hear it, but you're still frozen on my screen.
Oh, there's actually a comment here from Ed Kennedy.
Yeah, I can't watch you live because my video is frozen, but I want to say how proud I am. Aw, that's so nice. Aw, that's so sweet. Wow. Yeah, he's frozen. Yeah, you should come back and talk to the high school kids. Scotty Graham did. And
that's cool.
All right, so let's see. Ed Kennedy, let's see. I'm just looking at the rest of the comment. Yeah, you're frozen.
Well, I don't know if he could go back and watch earlier when I told the story about him, how he pushed me and drove me, and that kind of tough love is what inspired me and kept me motivated and kept me going and working as hard as I did. So yeah, people like him were a huge influence. And Pat Lynch too, Mr. Lynch. I don't know if there's a story that I've told a million times how Mr. Lynch changed my life. I remember going to health class. I'll tell a story quick, just because we're talking about Long Beach and teachers and stuff and inspiration.
Yeah.
But
just know that you're frozen.
But you could hear me.
We can totally hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I look funny in frozen? Is it a funny picture?
No, you're smiling. It's good.
Because I can't tell a serious story if I'm looking goofy.
No, you look good.
Well, anyway, it was senior year and health class with Mr. Lynch, and he gave the lesson about carpe diem and how you should appreciate life and seize the day because you never know what might happen. Your life could change on the drop of a dime. And he gave this amazingly inspirational story or lesson to the class. And that night I went home and my mom was leaving to go on a plane to go to Jersey, to Atlantic City. And before I ran out the door, I went back and gave her a big hug and a kiss and told her how much I loved her. And that was the last time I ever saw her. She died that night in a plane crash. And
Wow.
if I hadn't had that lesson from Mr. Lynch, from Pat Lynch, I would have never had that final goodbye. You know, it was a life-changing experience, completely due to a teacher giving an amazing class and something that inspired the student and changed my life forever. And I always thank him for that. And I know he passed a few years ago, and I retold that story, and it was really, you know, it's something I live with every day.
Yeah. Yeah. He comes up a lot in conversations with other Long Beach alumni, and we all have a story about him. I remember so many things about him, and it's true. Like those are gifts that they gave us. And oh, here we go. Let's see. Approve. Oh, can't bring them on. You're already on there. Yeah, you would have to come off and then come back on. You're totally frozen on my end. But yeah, no, that's a beautiful thing. Are you still there? Let's see. Let's invite him on again. We lost you. Help. Hang on. I'll bring you on again. 1 second. Now we can do it. I'm adding you, and I'm losing battery.
Sorry.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Sorry.
Awesome. No, that's okay.
We're at the mercy of. Am I still frozen or am I alive again?
No, you're alive.
Woohoo! Good.
No, that's so special. Yeah, you know, it's a sad story about that. But yeah, Mr. Lynch, Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Kaplan. I hope Mr. Kaplan watches this. Yeah, that would be cool. So what do you want to tell folks besides your TV watch? What's that?
No, I was just gonna say it's great that Facebook has brought us all back together again. I mean, I'm even Facebook friends with my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. O'Halloran. You know, it's like it's amazing to reconnect. I remember when the internet first started, I signed up for classmates.com, hoping to find some friends, you know, just to reconnect and say hello. And then obviously Facebook came along and it reconnected everybody. So it's kind of like a high school reunion every day now on Facebook.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's one of the most amazing creations out there. And I remember how reluctant I was to join Facebook. I was still living in Los Angeles, and I was on MySpace, and I was on dating sites and all of this stuff. And my friend from college said, you got to get on Facebook. All of the Waggies, I went to Wagner College on Staten Island, and he said, all of the Waggies are on Facebook. You know, we're just sharing pictures. It's cool. I'm like, no. And then months later, I finally agreed.
Right.
And that is how I reconnected with John Perlman.
Oh, really? So you weren't together all those years?
No, I was living the single life in LA and dating all these actors that did not want to be in relationships. And and all of the high school people came out of, you know, they were like all friend requesting me. And yeah, John made some comments, and I thought that he was different. But, you know, I know him way back to junior high and high school, but I did not see him for what, 30 years. And we reconnected.
That's great.
Facebook, it either brings people together or it breaks them up. So
yeah, that's true. Last year's election definitely broke up a lot of friendships as well.
Yeah. So Chris Evangelista, am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Saw the new video you did with the Tala Boys.
That's Max's band. I saw Chris in Florida a few years ago. He came to see me when I was touring with the Winery Dogs. But there's a great story about him. Maybe he doesn't want me to tell it. I don't know. But he was a reality TV star for a few years on HBO.
Oh, yeah?
There was a show called Family Bonds. In fact, I think I might even have the DVD here in my collection.
Oh.
He's going to hate me for this.
Tell it. He's telling you to tell it.
Okay.
I got to charge my phone. I got to take this out.
So check this out. He was on a show called Family Bonds, and that's him right there with the bald head. So I was, as I'm a big reality TV nut, especially, a couple of years, 5-10 years ago, I was watching Jersey Shore and all the reality shows. So HBO comes out with a reality show, and of course I got to watch it. And I'm watching the first episode or two
wait, you froze.
before I realized it was Chris that we went to high school with. And I was like, wait a second, is that Chris Evangelista? It's like, I went to high school with him. We used to hang out and go see Rocky Horror and stuff like that. So there he is. And so he was a reality TV star on HBO for a few years.
Keeps freezing. It's going to drive me nuts.
I'm sorry. So I'm not the only.
That's so
I'm not
cool.
the
I
only
did not
one.
know that. Oh, now I have.
I'm not the only one to Long Beach High School and get some success. Chris Evangelista is our closet reality TV star.
All right, Chris, you might be the next one. Look out. It was great when it all began. That's hysterical. That's so funny. That's so funny. All right.
That's a Rocky Horror reference.
Oh, my God. Rocky Horror. Oh, my God. Yeah, I think he just wrote me and said that you used to go see Rocky Horror and you used to trade patches on your jackets or pins or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
Wait a second.
Hysterical.
I got it all here. Hang on. I got the junior high school year. Once again. It's going to take me a second to find this photo, though, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Oh,
hey, Richard.
Where is it?
Mike, you keep freezing.
I'll hold still. Oh, there's Chris right there, by the way. That's high school.
It's blurry. Oh, yeah. He had hair.
Here's my friend Billy Heller.
Hey, Billy.
I
have my junior high book. I can't find it, though. I don't know where it went.
Well, I'm showing it to you now, so you have it. There's Pam, if Pam's out there watching. But I'm trying to find you a picture of all my buttons. Here we go. This is me and Rich Cusimano and, God, what was his name? Steve? I can't remember, but look at my jacket with all the buttons. They're all Rocky Horror Picture Show buttons. And the Ramones, Sid Vicious, Sex Pistols, Uncle Floyd show. I see Oogie there. Yeah.
That's great. Wait, was that Chris Grew? No.
Maybe. Let's see.
That's hysterical. Did you sing like the whole soundtrack from Rocky Horror?
Yeah, I mean, I've been through phases, especially back then in high school. I'd go through these phases where I was just obsessed with things. I went through a Ramones phase, a Kiss phase, and I went through a Rocky Horror phase. And for a couple of years, I would go see it every weekend. If I was in New York, I'd go to either the Mini Cinema in Uniondale or the 8th Street Playhouse in New York. Or if I was in California with my dad, I'd go see it at the Dream Theater where it used to play. And I was just a fanatic. I used to go up and play Riff Raff. I used to do all the moves dressed up as Riff. Richard O'Brien was my hero. He of course, played Riff, but also wrote the whole show and movie and songs. And then I went through an Uncle Floyd phase. And I was, I used to have my pictures up on the wall for Uncle Floyd show and the Ramones and Rock and Roll High School. That was like, different phases. Those were probably like 7th, 8th, 9th grade before I started a band. And then once I started a band, once we started Intruder, that became my obsession. And all my time and energy went into being in a band and, learning songs and writing some songs. The first songs I ever wrote were in Intruder. But before Intruder, I was, this movie and music fanatic.
That's crazy. What's that? Am I dying?
You're not even there.
I'm not there.
You're there on my end.
Oh, no. He's saying I'm not here. Now I'm frozen. Yeah, we're both freezing up.
All right.
So John just came back up from the basement. He said, I'm frozen. Does anybody see me?
Yeah, you're frozen on this end, too.
Oh, am I? Ugh.
You look good. You got stuck in a good frozen moment.
Oh, well, thank God. Well, we should probably end it, and maybe one day we can do this in person, because I think it would be so much better if I have a crew and I don't have to worry about this, and we can just do a whole video. I'll come to Pennsylvania.
No, you'll have to broadcast live from the Intruder reunion at St. Mary's Church. I guess it would be the 35th or the 40th anniversary of Intruder. Maybe we'll get together for a 40th anniversary reunion.
All right, you hear that, everybody? But who would you get together with? Would you have all the band members?
I've told those guys through the years, every once in a while, I'll see Mike Bauer, Mike Thomas. And I told those guys, if they set it up, I'll do it. You know?
Okay.
I would love to play with all those guys.
I'm going to work on that.
It was fun. But it would have to be at St. Mary's Church. It would have to be.
Yes. Okay. If you're willing, I'm going to set that up. I'll talk to the boys. And
I have the set lists from back then. So maybe we could recreate one of the set lists. So this was May 6th, 83. And so we'd have to recreate the exact set list.
Okay. All right. We're going to do it.
All right.
John's laughing. He's like, all right, we're going to work on that.
All righty.
That'll be a packed house.
All right.
Awesome.
Packed house. Everybody's in wheelchairs and then.
No, they won't be in wheelchairs. All right. Well, enjoy your TV watching tonight. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Wish I wasn't frozen on the screen. I wish we weren't having Wi-Fi technical difficulties like I always do on these live videos. But
well,
you know, that's what happens.
It's okay. Yeah.
I know. But I think everybody enjoyed it. We're at an hour anyway, and
well, thank you for having me.
Shit all night.
Thank you for having me. It was
Thanks
great
for
to
coming on.
And thank you to everybody tuning in and watching. It's you know, I never forget where I came from, and I always love Long Beach and all the memories and all my friends. You know, I get to see them sometimes when I'm traveling or touring. You know, there'll be a friend from Long Beach that's living, you know, in Milwaukee or living in a while. I get to see one, and it's always nice to just get a little bit of home when I'm on the road.
Absolutely, I agree. Well, thanks,
There's no
you guys.
place like home.
There's no place like home. Exactly. We got the beach.
Yeah.
Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Mike Portnoy. Thank you, Long Beach High School and all the teachers. And yeah, everybody rocks. Rock and roll forever. Thank you, Mike.